If you just picked up a PS5 Pro and you want the cleanest, sharpest way to stream or record gameplay, then this is the setup you're going to need. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Francisco. This is Streamdeck Talk, and today I'm breaking down my ultimate PlayStation 5 Pro streaming and recording setup. I'm going to cover every detail, including the gear that I use, how it's all connected together to work together, all the software that's involved so you can capture flawless gameplay and crystal clear Facecam footage for your live streams or YouTube videos. But first, story time, because you see, a few months ago, I walked into a GameStop with my base PS5 and I traded it in and upgraded to a PS5 Pro. And that one event set off a chain of events, okay? Because as a result of upgrading to PS5 Pro and wanting to get the maximum value out of it, I ended up also upgrading my gaming monitor. I went from a regular 1440 curved display, nothing fancy, I think it was an IPS screen, and bought myself my very first 1440p OLED monitor. And let me tell you real quick, now that I've gone OLED, I am never going back. So after I upgraded my monitor, I figured I may as well go big and upgrade my capture card as well as my Facecam. And that's where today's sponsor comes into play, Elgato. Now, full disclosure, I am an Elgato partner. Several pieces of gear that you're going to see today were sent to me by Elgato for free for the purposes of this video or maybe even some prior videos. Now, here's the thing. There's nothing that I am required to say. I'm not required to send this to them so they can review it prior to publishing. The only thing that Elgato has ever required of me is to just be me. And that is exactly what we will continue to do. So Elgato sent me two different pieces of gear for this video, and that is going to be the 4KX capture card as well as the Elgato Facecam Pro. And before we continue any further, the entirety of this video is being recorded using the Facecam Pro. But more on that here in just a second. The Elgato 4KX is a tiny but powerful external capture card designed for high-end console and PC gameplay capture. It supports up to 4K 144Hz HDR10 pass-through and capture, along with 1440p at up to 120Hz and 1080p at 240Hz, with VRR pass-through, ultra-low latency, and support for both USB 3.2 Gen 2 and AV1/HEVC recording via software like OBS or Elgato's 4K capture utility. It's built to deliver top-tier video quality while maintaining smooth, tear-free gameplay. Compact and plug-and-play, it fits seamlessly into any streaming or recording setup. So if the 4KX is handling all the game capture, then that leaves the Facecam Pro to handle capturing my beautiful moneymaker. Now, the Elgato Facecam Pro is a premium 4K webcam built for creators who demand studio quality visuals. It captures up to 4K at 60 FPS with an ultra-wide f2.0 21mm lens, delivering sharp, detailed footage even in low light. Powered by a large Sony Starvis sensor, it offers uncompressed video over USB 3.0 and full control via Elgato Camera Hub, including the ability to control ISO, shutter speed, and white balance. With HDR support, a fixed focus system, and easy integration into OBS or any major streaming software, the Facecam Pro is a top-tier Facecam solution for both streaming and content creation. And again, to prove that, I'm recording the entirety of this video using the Elgato Facecam Pro. As far as the rest of the gear is concerned, I am using an Elgato Streamdeck Plus with the XLR dock attached to the back of it, basically turning it into a stream controller / audio interface. And connected to this audio interface, I've got the Elgato Wave DX, their dynamic microphone, which you've been listening to this entire video. And supporting the mic, I have the Elgato Wave Mic Arm. As far as software is concerned, I use OBS to handle all the streaming, but I also will walk you through on how to set it up for recording. Now, personally, when it comes to recording just clean gameplay footage, I prefer to use Elgato software. But since we're covering a whole bunch of newness today, I'm actually going to walk you through their new application, which is currently still in beta, Elgato Studio. So with all the gear and software that I'm using pretty much out of the way, and of course, I'll kind of dive deeper into each one of them to show you how it's all set up together, let me actually show you how everything is connected. Starting with the Elgato 4KX, we need to make sure that it is connected via the provided USB cable to your computer, but you have to be careful here. It needs to be connected to the appropriate USB port. The 4KX requires a USB 3.2 second generation USB port that is capable of 10 gigabits per second transfer speeds. If you don't have one available, you can connect it to a 3.2 Gen 1. However, the trade-off here is going to be that you're not going to be able to capture at certain resolutions at certain frame rates. Now, if you don't know how to tell what USB ports you have on the back of your motherboard, no worries, I got you covered. The easiest thing to do is get on your preferred web browser and search up your motherboard's I/O. Usually, if you look at the images, you're going to find one that has a breakdown of what kind of ports you have on the back of your motherboard. Traditionally, and don't hold me dead to rights here, okay, but traditionally, USB 3.2 second generation ports, I believe, are the red ports. And if you have the red ports, you're good to go. If you don't have red ports, just look up your motherboard and maybe they're just not red for whatever reason. Once you've taken care of that, you're going to take your PS5 Pro's HDMI cable, obviously connect one end to the back of the PS5. The opposite end is going to be connected into the HDMI in port on the back of the 4KX. The HDMI cable that is provided with the 4KX, that one needs to be connected into the HDMI out port on the back of the 4KX, and the other end of that cable gets plugged into your main display that you will use for your gaming. All right, so now that we've got the 4KX connected and set up, let's go ahead and adjust some of the settings in the PlayStation 5 to make sure that we're able to capture the correct resolution, the correct frame rate, and the best possible colors. Go to your PS5, let's go to Settings. We're going to scroll down over here to Screen and Video, Video Output. We're going to make sure that the resolution is set to match the resolution of your display. If you're on a 1440p display like I am, and you don't have the ability to set this to 1440p, simply run the test 1440p output option right here. Once you're done with that and you're able to do it, or at least if the PS5 determines that you can, then you'll be able to set your resolution to 1440p. Variable refresh rate, fantastic feature, but you want to keep that off for now because there are reports of stutters happening every couple of seconds, around 7 to 8 seconds or so, when VRR is turned on. So for now, until it's fixed, I have it turned off. 120 Hertz output, make sure that's off as well. HDR, I keep it always on. You can do whatever you'd like here, but again, I have an OLED monitor. I want to make sure I'm capitalizing on that, so it stays on. Deep color output, leave it at automatic, and RGB range, make sure that is set to full. So now I'm going to show you how to capture the audio from your capture card, aka your PS5 Pro or whatever console it is that you have connected to it, add it into wavelengths so that then we can add it into OBS so that our audio gets captured, mixed, and routed out and sent out to our streams or our YouTube video. So as you can tell, I've got 6 different sources right here already routed in wavelength, and I need to add my capture card. So I'm going to go here, hit the plus sign, add my 7th channel, and you can immediately tell that the capture card is listed as its own source at the bottom. Elgato 4KX, parentheses, 2-Elgato 4KX. This might say something different depending on what capture card you're using, but here it is. I click it and we're done. That's it. Simple and clean is the way that you're making me feel tonight, ladies and gentlemen, because we're done. We've captured the audio at this point. So let's move on. Next up, I'm going to show you how to record your footage using both OBS and Elgato's new app, Elgato Studio. All right, so the first thing we're going to do in OBS is we're going to go ahead and add the 4KX as a source in OBS so that we can capture the gameplay footage itself, right? So we're going to make a scene, which I already did. I called it in-game, pretty explanatory there. And then we're going to go to sources. We're going to hit plus. I'm going to hit video capture device, and I'm going to type in 4KX. You can name it whatever you want, but I like to name the source after the gear that it is capturing. So I'm going to hit OK and wait a couple seconds. It should pop up here in just a minute. Device, okay, bam, wonderful, there we are. But we have a bit of a problem. For one reason or another, the preview is not as big as the canvas in OBS, and the canvas is what gets output either to your stream or what you're going to be recording. So if I were to record this right now as is, I'm only going to record that small fraction, that small bit of the gameplay window, and I'll still have the black borders around. So all you simply do is make sure you've got the source selected, and I'm going to hit Control F, and bam, it gets resized to fit the canvas. Next up, we're going to go ahead and make sure that the base resolution and the output resolution are set appropriately. Now, mind you, once again, I want to capture and record at 1440p. So I'm going to go ahead and go over here to Settings. Maybe drag the window down. Okay, here we go. We're going to go to Video, and bam, right here, you just click the drop downs and you're able to change the resolutions. As you can tell, I have 1440p selected for both of them. So what that means is that my preview window is basically a 1440p preview window, and it is also capturing and recording at 1440p. Well, at least that's what I'm telling it to do. I still have to set up OBS to do so. In order to do so, OBS has a fantastic tool built into it, and all we need to do is basically go over here to Tools. We're going to go to Auto Configuration Wizard, and whether you want to stream or you want to record, you're going to pick the appropriate option here. We're going to do recording for now. So we're going to click here. We're going to hit Next. It's going to recognize that I have a base resolution of 1440p. Now it's just going to want me to tell it at what frame rate do I want to record at. And of course, I'm going to go with, 60 FPS. We're going to hit Next, and you're going to notice that the output resolution here has been set to 1080p. Don't worry about that. We'll fix that really quickly, but just hit Apply. And for now, we are done. We're going to go right back to settings. I'm going to drag it back down, and we're going to go to video and just make sure that the output scaled resolution is still set to 1440p. Regardless of what the configuration wizard said, as long as this is set to the resolution you want to capture at, this is the resolution you're going to capture at. Now, if you just want to stream and you want to forego any sort of recording, the setup is just as easy. We're going to go back to Tools. We're going to select the Auto Config Wizard, and we're going to select Optimize for Streaming, Recording is Secondary. We're going to hit Next. Don't pay any mind to the canvas resolution because the canvas is ultimately what your preview is, but you do want to select your frame rate. I typically go with 60 FPS. I hit Next. And until Twitch gives me access to 1440p streaming, I'm going to turn off Test Enhanced Broadcasting. I hit Next, and I'll wait for the test to be done. And once the test is done, I simply hit Apply, and I'm good to go. So now let me show you how to add in your wavelength audio into OBS to make sure that you've got audio in your broadcast or your recordings. And it's very, very easy, okay? We're going to go to Sources, we're going to hit plus, and you're going to select Audio Input Capture. Very important, don't do output capture. It's possible. I'll show you how to do that at a later time. But for now, in a different video. But for now, we're going to do audio input capture. You're going to click on that. You're going to go ahead and name it whatever you want. I'm going to go with wavelength to keep things simple. I'm going to hit enter, and I'm going to go ahead and click on the drop-down menu here, and we're going to select wavelength stream. Click, OK, done. Once you've hit OK and you've added it into your sources, it's done. Your wavelength audio will be captured by OBS, and at that point, you can use the wavelength app or your Streamdeck or your Streamdeck Plus to control the levels for both your monitor output, which is what you hear, and your stream output, which is what your stream hears. At this point, feel free to add in all the overlays to your heart's content because you're ready to rock and roll. Now, if your only focus is recording clean PS5 Pro game footage, then allow me to introduce you to Elgato Studio. In order to download Elgato Studio, all we need to do is go to our preferred web browser using our preferred search engine, which in my case is Google Chrome. You're going to type in Elgato Studio, hit enter. We're going to go here to downloads, and we're going to scroll all the way down to test beta software because Elgato Studio is in beta. You're going to click the blue button, and over here on the right, you're going to find it, download the appropriate version for yourself, and install it. Welcome to Elgato Studio. One of the things that stood out to me as soon as I cranked this thing on for the first time is how clean of a UI we have here compared to what we got with 4K Capture Utility, and I'm absolutely here for it, okay? The other thing that I like here is that you can immediately tell what capture card it is that you're using in case for whatever reason you forgot. But even cooler than that is that you get the matching LED status light to go with it. So right here, we see the blue dot. And on the 4KX, a blue light means that everything's working as intended. The capture device is working and there is a signal that has been detected. And you can obviously tell because you can see the preview footage from the PS5 Pro. If you look next to it, you're also able to tell what resolution and frame rate you're currently recording at. But if you want more information, which is something else I really love here, is that if you go down here to the drop-down menu, boop, you're going to see a diagram showing you the signal chain, if you will. So it tells us that the PlayStation 5 is outputting at 1440p 60 FPS with an HDR signal. It is also showing us that the 4KX is able to record up to 4K at 144 frames a second. Then it goes on to tell us that as far as output's concerned, we are recording at 1440p 60 and that our pass-through signal is passing through also at 1440p 60 FPS. As far as setup is concerned, this is practically a plug and play experience because I plugged in my 4KX to my computer, downloaded and installed Studio, launched it, and by default, it was already recording at 1440p 60. But in the event that you want to change some of that, you go to the gear here at the top right. We're going to go to recording, and on this drop down menu right here, you're able to change the resolution. I don't see anywhere where we can change the frame rate, but I'm sure that as the beta continues to evolve, that may be a feature that is added in at a later time. You're also able to set the recording path, and my personal favorite quality of life feature is the file naming, okay? You're able to set the prefix, which basically I assign as the video game's name that I'm playing and recording, and then the file formatting. Instead of date and time, which is very annoying when you're trying to sift through hours and hours of footage, I have it set up to use an incremental number. So the very first recording for Night Rain would be named Night Rain 1, the second, Night Rain 2, so forth and so on. I absolutely love that because that saves me so much time. Now, once you've got everything set up and good to go and you're happy with the resolution that you're seeing on your screen and you've confirmed that you're able to record at your desired resolution, all you need to do is come on down here and hit that record button and you're good to go. Now, one more tip before we move on. If you notice here at the volume meters that the bars are hitting all the way to the right or pretty close to, that means that you're capturing really, really loud audio from your 4KX or whatever capture card it is that you're using. And if you were to play that right now, put it in a video editor and play it back, it's most likely going to be severely distorted and unusable footage. And the solution for that is really, really simple. Now, I'm still using Windows 10, but the fix applies even in Windows 11. The only thing is that I don't know how to get to these menus in Windows 11. So on Windows 10, what you're going to do is we're going to go down here to our system tray, right click on the speaker, go to sounds, wait for that to open up. Let me move it here. We're going to go to recording, find our capture card. We're going to go to click it, properties, levels. It's going to be at 100 and you need to bring that thing down to about 50 or so. And if that's too low for you, that's okay because you can boost that in post. It's easier to boost that signal in post and still have clean audio as opposed to trying to work with ugly, horrible, distorted audio.
Pay up or else. Easily done.
Now that I've walked you through on how to set up the Elgato 4KX with your PS5 Pro and with OBS and Elgato Studio, we've taken care of our game footage capture, and that leaves us with audio and our Facecam. As far as audio is concerned, I have a ton of videos that will show you how to set up Elgato Wavelength to handle all of your audio routing, and a ton of videos on how to get the best quality mic audio out of pretty much whatever microphone it is that you want to use. So if you need help in either one of those two areas, I'll have some links in the description below. Feel free to check out the video. And if you have any questions, comment on those videos or in this one, and I'll be sure to help you out as quickly as I can. But then that leaves us with the Elgato Facecam Pro. So let me show you how to set this thing up to get the best possible video quality out of it so that you can look beautiful using that beautiful God-given moneymaker of yours. Now, I'm going to be brutally honest here for a moment. It doesn't matter how much money you spend on a camera. If you don't have sufficient lighting, then your camera footage is going to suck. And that's just the plain old truth. So in order to show you that, I am using the Elgato Facecam Pro. I've been using it for the majority of this video. I'm going to turn off all the lights that light me up so you can see how awful this looks even when using a phenomenal webcam. So what you're looking at right now is the Elgato Facecam Pro, but with all the lights that focus on me turned off, all right? And if I start cycling through the lights and turning them on one by one, you're gonna see how lighting really affects the quality of the video from any camera. So let me start off by turning on my first key light air. Boom, that's the one here to my right. You can kind of see me lit up on the right-hand side, but the rest of me is still pretty dark, and I wouldn't use this in any sort of streaming scenario or recording scenario. So I'm going to go ahead and go to my second one and turn that one on, and that's the one here to my left. Now you can see that both halves of me are lit up, but still I'm a little too darkened out, and I still wouldn't use this in a stream or in a YouTube video. So I'll go to my third light. This is the Elgato ring light. Barely noticeable difference. You probably couldn't even tell, or you barely could. And the reason is that I have it set to a very low brightness because all I want that light to do is to add a little more light to my background. It's not even focusing on me, which leads me to my fourth and final light. Bam. Here we go. Now I have 3 lights focusing on me. They're good lighting, they're set to the right color temperature, and they're diffused. And therefore now I have set up the Facecam Pro for success, which allows you to see how fantastic of a webcam this is. So again, you don't have to have the most expensive camera in the world. You don't have to have expensive lights. You just need to have sufficient lighting. With that out of the way, let me show you how to set this up in Camera Hub. In order to get the most out of Facecam Pro, you need to make sure that it's connected to the appropriate USB port on your computer. Hopefully you have a 3.2 Gen 2 connection that is capable of transfer speeds of 10 gigabits a second. If you have that and it's connected to that, you're good to go. If you don't, well, you can still connect it to a lesser generation one. I believe you can still go with a Gen 1, but you're going to have some limitations in regards to its resolution and frame rate. Now, with that connected and set up, go on the internet, go to Elgato's website, download Camera Hub software, install it, and once you do, this is what you'll see, okay? So the first option that we have here is device, and you're going to be able to see that you've got the Facecam Pro running, and you're going to see what resolution and what format you're capturing at. In my case, 4K 30 FPS with the MJPEG format, all right? Underneath it, we see frame. This allows us to kind of change up the framing of the camera itself, including the zoom and a whole bunch of other things. But I have some presets set up. So preset A is this right here. This is going to be B, C, and D. All right. And all that shaking and whatnot that you see is the focus, which brings us to our next option, next pane, window, submenu, whatever you want to call it. Under focus, we have automatic focus, which is what I currently have it set to right now. And you can see a bit of a lock symbol right next to it. So once it's locked in and focused on me, I basically lock it to make sure that it doesn't try to focus hunt me. If you don't want your focus set to automatic, you can turn it off by clicking here and manually focus yourself, which I personally don't recommend. I think the automatic focus here is fantastic. And if for whatever reason, the Facecam Pro loses focus of you, you simply go here and click on refocus, which is what it will do. And then you can lock it right there. So now it won't lose focus of you. The next submenu that we have here is picture. It by default comes at 50% contrast and 50% saturation. Coming right out of the box, I am incredibly happy with how this looks, so I just don't mess with this. After that, we have exposure. And this one, I'm gonna tell you, again, in a very brutally honest manner, don't do automatic exposure. You can, but you shouldn't do that, okay? Because everyone's room and environment and lighting is incredibly different from one person to the next. So therefore, it's always best to have your exposure set manually. In my case, in my room with my lighting, I have it set to 1/90 for the shutter speed and ISO of 100 because I have a lot of lights and it works for me. This is not necessarily going to work for you. You're welcome to try. It might be a good foundation to start off. There is a golden rule, a rule of thumb, if you will. Whatever your frame rate is that you're capturing at, your shutter speed needs to be double that. You would think that because I'm capturing at 30 frames a second, I would have my shutter speed set to 1/60. I had it set to that. It was still a little too dark for my liking, and I didn't want to blast my lights in front of me. So I went ahead and increased the shutter speed up to 1/90, which gave me the results that you see right now, which I'm incredibly happy with. ISO, again, we just leave it at 100 and call it a day. But again, everybody's environment is different. Everybody's lighting is different. So play around with this setting. Don't worry if it takes you a little bit of time. Just get it right. And once you do, you're good to go. Next up, we have white balance. This one, you don't want to set to automatic. You want to manually set this to match your light's color temperature. All of my lights are set to 3900 Kelvin. Therefore, my Facecam Pro is set to 3900 Kelvin. And you can also mess around with the tint if you want to. You can go with a greener tint, a more purple tint, but honestly, 0 works just as well for me. And last but not least, if you set your exposure to automatic, you'll also be able to set some anti-flicker options as well. But because it's not an automatic for me, I can't mess with this at all. Once you've got this set up to how you want it to be, you hit save and you're done. Now, if you have something like a Streamdeck Plus, like I do, you're going to get a lot of utility and functionality when using the Facecam Pro and the Camera Hub software. For example, in Streamdeck Plus, I have a page or a folder dedicated to the Camera Hub application. I'm going to go ahead and press this button in, and it's going to open up all of my options here. And as you can tell, the top row of keys has been assigned to all of my different framed presets. As of right now, we're in preset B, but if I want to change to any of them, I simply hit any button I want. So we're just going to go through them all. I'm going to go to A, B, C, D. Bam. But let's pretend for a moment that I'm over here in preset C, and I'm not really happy with how it's kind of cutting out a little bit of my hair at the tippy top. Well, you can tell that I have a dial assigned to control the tilt of the camera, and to the left of it, I have one that's assigned to control the pan of the camera, right? So as far as tilt is concerned, if I turn my dial to the right or clockwise, it's going to tilt upwards. And it's digital tilt and digital pan, by the way, okay? If it's not to my liking here, I can turn it counterclockwise and really dial in the positioning or the framing of the Facecam Pro. And the same thing can go with the pan. If I turn it clockwise, it goes this way. If I turn it counterclockwise, it goes this way. But let's pretend that I get somehow to this framing over here. I'm not really happy with what's going on. Thankfully, it's not saving this on top of my preset. It's just setting it locally in OBS. I can just go back to B, hit the button, and I'm back to where I started. Now, I understand that maybe navigating between an OBS folder and a Camera Hub folder might be a pain in the butt. So we're going to go to Main, and I'm going to go ahead and go over here to my OBS key, and I'm going to go to my Record folder, which is my recording pages, if you will. And you can tell that I have one dial right here set as a dial action wheel. Is that what it said? Let me make sure of that real quick. I'm going to click over here, go to Streamdeck. It is. It's the dial action wheel command, okay? So if we go here, we're going to double click. You're going to see that I have it set to where I can rotate this dial and it'll change between all the different commands that I've stacked on top of it here. So what that looks like for you is we're going to go recording. I can rotate through all the different frame presets that I have here. We're going to start with A. I'm going to push the dial in. B, push the dial in. C, push the dial in. And D, just like that. And it's very easy to do. It's incredibly easy to set up. And again, it just gives you an added layer of control and functionality at your literal fingertips. Now, if you recall earlier in the video, we went ahead and added our 4KX source into OBS. And in order to add our Facecam into OBS, and it's not going to work because I'm running 2 instances of OBS. The main instance, which is recording this video, is already using the Facecam Pro. But if you wanted to add your camera into OBS, all you simply do is you go to your sources, you hit plus, video capture device. We're going to type in Facecam Pro, hit enter. And once this kind of pops up and loads in, because it takes a while for some reason, you click the device dropdown and you would see Elgato Facecam Pro right here. You click it, and then instead of doing device default for the resolution and FPS type, you're going to use custom, and then you'll set it to capture at whatever resolution you want it to. And it's the same exact thing here for FPS. And in doing so, your camera will appear on screen as it is here right now, which is what you're looking at in my use case. Yeah. So at this point in the video, we've connected our capture card to our PS5 Pro. We set it up with OBS. We set it up with Elgato Studio. We connected our Facecam Pro. We set that up with OBS. We set it up with Camera Hub software. You've added in all your overlays. You've routed all your audio in Wavelength. You set up your microphone. You are ready to get out there and start creating some badass content. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that about does it for today. Thank you all so much for hanging out with me for the duration of this video. Big thanks to Elgato for sponsoring the video, for sending me the 4KX and the Facecam Pro. Without them, I don't think I'd be able to capture the best possible footage that I can from my PS5 Pro. And in doing so, I am able to provide you with higher quality content. And by the way, this isn't exclusive to just the PS5 Pro. This works with any console setup and even a single or dual PC setup as well. So I hope you found the video informative and helpful. If you did, let me know in the comments below. Hit that like button. And until next time, be good to yourselves, be good to one another. Peace out.